It was my 25th birthday, surrounded by family in our cozy suburban home, laughter echoing off the walls. My sister Sophia, always the prankster with her sharp wit and envy-tinged smiles, had insisted on the tradition. "Come on, Elena, it's fun," she'd said, her eyes gleaming. The party was lively. Balloons in royal blue matching my elegant turtleneck dress, the one with gold embroidery that made me feel like a princess. Friends and relatives cheered as she lunged forward, slamming the massive chocolate cake right into my nose. The force knocked me off balance. I tumbled backward, my head cracking against the sharp edge of the coffee table. Pain shot through my skull, warm blood trickling down, mixing with the sticky icing. I gasped, vision blurring, but everyone burst into hysterics. "It was only a prank." Sophia chuckled, wiping her hands. Mom hushed me. "Don't be dramatic, dear." Dad just grinned. I forced a smile, wiping the mess away, but the throbbing ache lingered through the night. By morning, the headache was unbearable, a pounding drum in my temples. I drove to the ER alone, the sapphire pendant on my necklace feeling heavier than usual. The doctor, a kind-faced man named Dr. Hale, ordered an X-ray. As he stared at the film, his face paled. This can't be right," he muttered, then grabbed the phone. "I need to call 911. My heart raced. What had he seen? Why was the doctor calling the police? My mind spun as nurses rushed in, their whispers like static in my ears. I sat frozen on the exam table, the sterile ER lights buzzing overhead, my braided hair still dotted with pearl beads from last night's updo, now disheveled. The X-ray glowed on the screen, but Dr. Hale shielded it from me. "Elena, have you ever had head trauma before?" he asked, voice steady but eyes urgent. I shook my head. No, nothing I remembered. Growing up with Sophia, our sibling rivalry was fierce. She was the golden child, top of her class, while I struggled with odd blackouts and migraines Mom dismissed as stress. Dad's job as a researcher kept him distant, buried in his home lab with gadgets and chemicals. Last night replayed, Sophia's chuckle as I fell, the blood blending into icing like a macabre swirl. Was the cake heavier than usual? Did she push too hard on purpose? Paranoia crept in. Police arrived quickly, 2 officers questioning me gently. "Tell us about the party," one said. I recounted the prank, but omitted the family tensions, Sophia's jealousy over my recent promotion, her snide comments about my perfect life. Dr. Hale conferred with them, mentioning anomalies in the scan. "Not just a fracture from the fall," he hinted. "Something older, embedded." "Embedded?" My skin crawled. As they took photos of my bruised face, I glimpsed a shadow on the X-ray. A small, irregular shape in my skull. What was it? And why did Sophia text me just then, "Hope you're okay, sis"? Pranks gone wrong, huh? Her words felt off, laced with something unspoken. I needed answers, but fear knotted my stomach. What startling reality hid in my past? The word embedded echoed in my skull like a warning siren as the officers escorted me to a private consultation room, away from the bustling ER corridor. My hands trembled around the sapphire pendant. I twisted it nervously, feeling its cool weight ground me. Dr. Hale joined us, pulling up the X-ray on a tablet. There it was, a tiny, metallic shard, no bigger than a grain of rice, lodged deep in the temporal bone, right behind my left ear. Not new. The edges were smooth, encapsulated by scar tissue. "This isn't from last night's fall," he said quietly. "It's been there for years, possibly decades. The impact yesterday must have shifted it slightly, causing microhemorrhaging." My breath caught. Decades? I was only 25. The officers exchanged glances. "Any childhood surgeries? Accidents?" one asked. I searched my memory. Nothing. Just vague headaches Mom always blamed on growing pains, and Sophia teasing me about being clumsy. Then a memory flickered, age 10, a family camping trip. Sophia dared me to climb a tree. I fell, hit my head on a rock. I woke up dizzy, blood in my hair, but Mom cleaned it, said it was shallow. No doctor. Dad was away on a conference. We handled it at home, Mom had insisted. The officers noted it down. They asked for Sophia's contact, I gave it reluctantly. My phone buzzed again, another text from her, you at the hospital? Tell them it was an accident. Don't make a scene. Cold dread pooled in my stomach. Why assume I'd make a scene? Dr. Hale lowered his voice. The fragment looks surgical-grade alloy. Not something from a random rock. Surgical? My mind raced to Dad's home lab, late nights, locked doors, packages arriving with hazmat labels. Had he experimented? On me? The officers decided to bring Sophia in for questioning. As they left to arrange it, Dr. Hale handed me a printout of the X-ray. Look closely, he said. Etched faintly on the shard, almost invisible, a tiny serial number. My pulse thundered. Whatever this was. It wasn't random. And Sophia knew more than she let on. Sophia arrived at the station an hour later, her usual poise cracking when she saw me in the interview room, flanked by detectives and a grim-faced Dr. Hale. She wore the same navy dress from the party, pearls still in her hair, but her smile was gone. Elena, this is ridiculous, she started. It was a stupid prank. I didn't mean to hurt you. The detective slid the X-ray across the table. Explain this. Her eyes widened, then darted away. I don't know what that is. But her voice trembled. I leaned forward. You were there when I fell as a kid. The camping trip. You dared me. She swallowed hard. It was an accident. Dad arrived next, summoned by police, disheveled, lab coat still on. His face drained of color at the X-ray. That's classified, he whispered. The room went silent. He sank into a chair. 20 years ago, the company was testing neural implants. Non-invasive at first. But one prototype failed. You were exposed during a home demo. The shard was a fragment that lodged when we tried to remove it quietly. We thought it was inert. My world tilted. Exposed? You experimented on your own daughter? I choked out. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I found out last year. Dad told me to keep quiet, said it would ruin us. I was jealous, Elena. You got the promotion, the praise, while I carried this secret. The cake. I just wanted to knock you down a peg. I didn't know the fragment would. Dad interrupted. The impact dislodged it enough to cause pressure on the optic nerve. That's why the bleed. The detective confirmed, the serial number traced to a defunct biotech firm Dad once consulted for. Charges loomed, negligence, endangerment, possible assault. Sophia broke down, confessing she'd suspected the prank might trigger something but convinced herself it wouldn't. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I hated hiding it. I stared at them both, my family, fractured by secrets. Surgery was scheduled to remove the shard safely. As nurses prepped me, I touched the sapphire pendant one last time. It had belonged to Mom, who'd died shielding the truth too. No more hiding. The startling reality wasn't just the implant, it was how long love and lies had coexisted in silence. I closed my eyes, finally ready to heal.